What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Crazy for KV's RC. I'm Tim. Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time watching, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future content. Wearing this mic today because I got 3D printer running, and hopefully the noise cancellation on this filters out some of that sound. Still going to get a little bit of it probably, so I do apologize. All right, so ECC is over. I apologize for kind of inundating you guys with content centered around that competition. But if you're unaware of what I'm talking about, real quick summary, I wanted to kind of document what it was like going to your first competition, and started with, the parts, and, built a truck, showed a little bit about the build process, what I thought of some of the, parts and components that I chose. And then I was able to get the truck out once and kind of do a shakedown test run. Really light use, and unfortunately did not find one of the major issues. But I also filmed while competing all 4 courses. Not the best footage, actual driving footage, but wanted to show it to you guys either way, just to show that I did it, and kind of show what to expect and hear the spotters throughout the process. And then on the back end, I did a lessons learned. 7 lessons learned, if you're going to your first competition. And I think that was probably the most valuable video in that entire series. So if you're interested, I'll link that up here and you guys can check that out. But let's move on to the subject of today's video. So you can see here in front of you on the backup camera, we have my RC Speedy A1. Now I will do a quick summary on this, and then I'm going to hit you guys with a playlist just to provide some more information if you do not have it. So this is a titanium tube buggy, very performance minded, built by RC Speedy, built in China. You can kind of change a few things when you order, but for the most part, it's a production chassis. Mostly what you're changing is what it's set up for, and some of the accessories. This one is set up to run on a VS410 Phoenix. So it's running plastic F10 axles. They're plastic drive shafts that come with the kit. It's got a VFD twin transmission. It is locked in high overdrive, so you get about 40 to 45% of overdrive. I forget the exact number. It has an EcoPower 115T running momentary dig. It's got their S80 shocks. These are 90 millimeter shocks though, that come with a straight axle kit. A Shifts X2 direct power servo, and it does have some brass up front. And right now you guys are seeing it sit on some 1.9s from Vanquish with some, beadlock rings. It's got VXT2 tires, and it's running Crawler Innovations foams, dual stage Lil Novas. We got soft up front, medium in the rear. But primarily this truck has been running these right here. And these are 2.2 tanks from Vanquish, wrapped with 5.25 inch West Desert Wheeler cut and shuts. So they're a 4.75 tire, and this section is added to make them fit a 2.2. And they have my only pair of 3D printed inserts. These are squid inserts. These are specially made for this, tire. And this is a really good setup. These are starting to get broken in a little bit. Cherokee Rock Village has great terrain, which is where I, did over 2 hours of running with this truck. And we're finally starting to get the tires worked in a little bit. But while I was at ECC doing the competition, I stayed for 3 days, competed for a day, and then I had 2 days basically free to kind of play around and to film some running footage on some amazing terrain. I wish I lived a lot closer. I would be there a lot more. So if you're interested in any more detail about this truck, I'm going to link that here. Did kind of a whole build on it, kind of talked about some of the things. But one addition, I actually did a test drive the same day I did my competition truck test drive, and I did that out at Stone Mountain near Atlanta. One of the issues I was having was this truck was unloading really bad during steep inclines, during side hills. It's got a lot of up top weight. It's got this scale fuel cell that houses the receiver, and it also has a dig servo in here, and obviously titanium chassis. Titanium's light, but compared to a plastic chassis like a Capra or something, this truck is quite heavy. But all in all, for the cool factor you get of having a metal cage tube buggy, it's a pretty good weight, and I like where it's at. One of you all, either on YouTube or on Instagram, I don't remember, recommended that I get some DEEZ company shock bands. And these are just a limiting strap. You see them in full scale. A lot of the Ultra 4 guys run them. A lot of rock crawling guys run them. And it kind of holds the shock in its, compressed position. These shocks are running no springs, so it sits at full droop when it's on its own weight. There you guys can kind of see what it looks like at full droop. And these shocks are real licky, so I just got shock fluid all over my finger. But the idea with this is have an elastic band that kind of holds everything compressed, but still allows it to articulate as it needs to. I will caveat, I did buy these with my own money. And if you guys are interested, the link is down below. The only thing I'll warn you about is, like I said, I have the brass portal covers up front from Vanquish, and those are really, really heavy. And one of the downsides is when this truck is moving, the suspension's working and articulating, the DEEZ shock bands really stretch out, especially up front. There's a lot of weight on this axle, and it really stretches that elastic out, to its extreme. And I do worry that they are wearing out rather quickly, a lot quicker than I would like. It has about 2 hours of runtime with these on there, and the front is pretty loose at full compression, which the idea is they are supposed to be taut at full compression and still be able to stretch. So that's kind of a bummer. But like I said, I'll link that down below. Check them out. It's a really good product, especially if you have a lighter axle vehicle, a lighter vehicle in general. It's going to take a lot less of a toll, I think. And I may look to replace them or figure out a little bit more heavy duty alternative to these, because I just think it's not quite built for something as beefy as this. But that about catches you guys up. Let's go hit the run footage. You can see this thing's got some scratches, it's got some dings. The powder coat has in the chassis has some gashes in it as well. But I will say this thing performed great. I hope you guys enjoy the run footage. And just keep in mind that the GoPro is a very wide angle lens. So if it looks really flat and easy, it's a little deceiving. A lot of the terrain this thing was conquering with ease was really, really tough. A lot of the Class 2 trucks were absolutely struggling with this. And it was crushing a lot of the same terrain Class 3 was running on. So let's go hit the running footage. I'll see you guys there.
All right, guys, we got the RC Speedy A1 out for only its second drive. You guys saw on the bench, we got those DEEZ RC shock bands. Really excited to get those on. Pretty straightforward install. The fuel cell really was the only challenge, kind of impeding screw length on the back there. But you can see here, this one little spot that I found was kind of near some of the Class 3 courses, and getting started was one of the issues. I did end up crawling it, didn't have to put the truck up here, but did not have it in frame. So I mentioned also that this GoPro setup is set up on my transmitter. Not ideal for filming, but some of the lines here are pretty high stakes. There's some 20, 30, 40 foot cracks and crevices and cliffs you can fall off of. So just wanted to play it safe and kind of focus on driving as much as possible and get you guys some running footage to go along with that updated A1 with the shock bands. Lots of really good terrain out here. Pretty steep drop off. The GoPro's a really wide lens, so it tends to level things out. Some of these obstacles and lines were really quite challenging. I had intentions of trying to run some of the Class 3 courses once the drivers were off of them with this truck. Unfortunately, time was kind of running late, and I had a 5-hour drive ahead of me, so ended up leaving a little early. Didn't get to that, but I have no doubt that this truck, without the pressure of time, would have finished all of those Class 3 courses. Some of the bonus gates really do require 4-wheel steer, so this truck has dig. It's running a Vanquish Phoenix setup. I have high overdrive locked, but you could also run selectable overdrive. But with dig, we might be able to make do, but I think without hitting bonus gates, we probably could have finished and cleared all the gates. This has pretty narrow axles as well. It's got F10s. A lot of Class 3 drivers are running capper axles just for that little bit extra stability. And now with the capper 4-wheel steer, it's a pretty plug-and-play solution. You get 2 built axles ready to go, and kind of a nice little setup there. You can see approaching this kind of this gap between these two two little rocks that are kind of formed into this rock face, and the one kind of kicking me sideways, it also was getting hung up on the skid / the panel on the passenger side there. So just took a little back up, a little reverse, kind of approach it more driver, and then let it kind of naturally push me to the passenger side. I even get a little twisted there. You can see the DEEZ shock band's working really well though. The truck is, sitting at full droop, full bump pretty much all the time, even at pretty steep, inclines. Helps keep that front end sucked down. So pretty nice. The one thing I will say about it, if I didn't mention it on the bench, is that this truck has really heavy front axles. Those brass additions from Vanquish are not light. So if you're going to run this, I recommend, something similar to this setup. I recommend storing it with the axles at full bump, but obviously you want to elevate them to avoid getting flat spots in your tires. And I'm not sure how these 3D printed foams will hold up over time to sitting on the ground. So I just have some little 3D printed jack stands and ended up utilizing those for this, just for storage purposes, just to save the elastic, because I feel like even just an hour or so of running the truck, the elastic was starting to get worn out a little bit. Still plenty of spring in them. They're not, completely worn out, but you could go through them pretty quickly, and they're not necessarily cheap, but it is a pretty good product. Missing the truck and frame a little bit there, sorry about that. But here, pretty big climb out. I wanted to see if the truck was able to do it with these cut and shuts and the squid inserts, and make sure it had enough wheel speed. And you can see I was able to get out. I get down here and kind of decide, I see a fun little line over here to the left in the screen, so I just back out. Kind of wanted to see how the truck reacted backing down as well, and kind of hit this crack of doom, I guess if you want to call it. Just got to kind of ride the sidewalls of the tires, and drop out there. That rock down there in the dirt definitely helped us out, gave us an assist. And you can see as I'm trying to get out, almost tip it to the left here. What you can't see, just out of frame, you can kind of see some of the trees growing up. That is a huge 30 or 40 foot drop off straight down. I don't know if there's a way to get to it either. So again, one of the reasons I wanted to drive two-handed, just to be in maximum control. Just repositioned the camera, same exact spot. Was able to make it out, and no issues there. If you guys have seen my Instagram, I call this thing a line killer. I have probably an hour or so of running footage of this truck, and pretty much wherever I pointed it, it went. I think it rolled over twice in an hour, and it was when I was trying some pretty silly stuff, getting it really twisted, kind of big overhang stuff where rear tire kind of gets wrapped up and just kind of twist the truck out of control. And the only time I ever had to, actually touch it, and I was able to recover it, under its own power every other time. I really do think with four-wheel steer conversion, or just a little bit wider axles and a winch, that this would be a decent Class 3 truck. Getting the points would obviously be the challenging part, but Class 3 being much less competitive, I will say, taken a lot less seriously than Class 2, at least in my observations. I think it would be a really fun truck to try to run. Some folks ran four-wheel steer Capras, mostly stock, with some scale points added, and just kind of enjoyed the challenge of a little more difficult courses and trying to master four-wheel steering. But obviously there's highly competitive drivers that are Very talented and skilled, and they tend to, you know, really push it and have much more scale trucks than a Capra or even this one is. But that's gonna do it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed kind of the revisit of the RC Speedy A1. Again, at the beginning of the video, I linked the entire build series, kind of what the truck is, what it has in it. So go back, check those out. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Thanks for watching.